Subverting and challenging audience expectations are goals all filmmakers should strive for, to provide a view, a window into the unique mind of the director, to invite the audience into their films. No! Memento certainly does this. It provides a narrative, but leaves it to subjective perception to string any real answer together. As the film's protagonist, Leonard, discovers too. While suffering from anterograde amnesia and struggling to find his wife's killer, but whether anything is factual or fabricated, if Leonard is reliable or anyone around him, for that matter, is the true mystery and the driving force of the film's narrative. This film achieves a special relationship with its editing and its experimental quality, re-evaluating the typical progression of montage editing for Nolan's own narrative purpose. By choosing to open the film in reverse, the end of the film, this sets every following sequence in the wrong order, a reverse order. This choice of editing is what places the viewer in Leonard's point of view, his perception of the world around him, justifiably creating a greater emotional attachment than what the camera could achieve. Nolan presents Leonard's story in such a way that the audience are placed in Leonard's head, hearing his internal monologues, visualizing what he sees, all the while two separate narrative structures loop through one another. Discovering Leonard's past, shot in black and white, and his present, shot in colour, the audience are left in the same position as Leonard. No one knows more than what is presented. This technique of limiting the viewer's knowledge to that of our protagonist's knowledge is a clever way of keeping the audience vigilant, awaiting any remarkable images, cryptic dialogue, or repeated shots. Viewers don't necessarily know what is important and should be stored, and what is detail and can be ignored. Similar to Leonard, watch the film again, and the viewer will have no trouble noticing how insistent Teddy is about getting the keys to Leonard's car.
It's broken. I can get that fixed for you.
With $200,000 in the trunk. But viewers probably didn't notice this detail the first time around. By not understanding what is and is not important, the viewer's ability to encode selectively has been compromised. This film's power relies on how every single scene is delivered. Nolan even said himself,
"You can't remove a scene from the film because every scene connects in a very literal, specific and linear way with the scene that precedes it and the scene that follows it."
In this regard, the film is ironically linear for a reverse chronological narrative. The events are tightly woven and won't work without the preceding scene.
What?
The audience sees this in effect right from the first colour scenes in the film, as Leonard meets Teddy in the reception of the Discount Inn.
Lenny! Okay.
As the audience watch the scene play out, similarities begin to arise. First and most notably is the repetition of shots.
You're alright.
Within scene 3,
Lenny!
Teddy is framed at a medium shot, standing at the door of the motel, as the scene fades to black. After the black and white scene, Nolan leads up to scene 3, as Leonard prepares to leave his motel room. This is all filling in the blanks. To return to the same shot of Teddy, framed exactly the same way, to continue after scene 3 fades to black. This is all established early on to create a pattern for the audience. Nolan introduces scenes with parallels early on to reinforce certain images and guide the audience through reverse chronological narrative, giving the audience something they can hold on to. Various details are used to keep the audience in touch with Leonard, his framing for example. This is an important detail that is subtle, yet adds more depth to the structure of the colour sequences. Cinematographer Wally Pfister coins the phrase that the camera is always sticking with him, as nearly every shot will have Leonard from over the shoulder, tracking behind, close up in front. He will always be in shot. Compare this with the black and white scenes, and the audience can see a more objective view of Leonard. Some distance is kept. composed with high-angle shots, like a security camera point of view, conveying a stronger second-person view of Leonard. Nolan uses these ideas intentionally to establish a sense of watching a documentary film of Leonard, made clear through Leonard's monologue, which used little scripting, with heavy improvisation and exposition in which Leonard rambles on about his condition and about a particular man called Sammy Jenkins, giving the feeling of an interview that's been edited together, creating another dimension in how the audience perceive Leonard as a character.
So where are you?
Every character tackles memory in some way throughout the film. Every character has lied to Leonard at some point, including himself. Leonard may be considered more unreliable, as he's the only source of information for the audience. Leonard is confronted with these notions when talking to Teddy. Teddy turns the table on Leonard's story about Sammy, a client before the accident who suffers from Leonard's condition, and about his wife, how she survived the accident. Teddy uses all of the information that Leonard told him to confuse and manipulate him. He visualizes giving her insulin, which would make the story of Sammy really about him. He would be wrong about everything. Nolan challenges the thoughts about our memories and how they can be affected by our emotions. Nolan creates a narrative film which is complex, beautiful, and thought-provoking. No matter how many times one may watch this film, they will always be left pondering the last minutes of the film. Was it all wrong? No definitive answer can be found within Leonard's subjective look on the world, but Teddy's ideas planted some intriguing thoughts that will keep filmgoers coming back for more.